Hey everyone, or should I say, hey everyone, whoever is watching this on the replay, because this might be actually one of those lives where I talk to myself for a little bit, which is totally fine because this is my first live stream and I am taking the opportunity to play with these features before I actually know exactly what I'm doing since I've actually never used these before. So I might be a little self depreciating or deprecating. I can't even say that word because I am literally so nervous on here. So, first of all, who am I? I am Sarah Stemen. I've been working in Google Ads for over 17 years. I actually run this channel. If you've seen my face, I actually just made a video a couple minutes ago. But I built my business on, first of all, managing Google Ads. And then I moved into coaching because I really saw this opportunity for small businesses in particular. I feel like it's very, very frustrating to watch small businesses who can't succeed in Google Ads. I feel that in my bones. I think Google Ads is an enormously powerful platform. But what tends to happen with my clients is they can't afford a true expert. So they end up going with these agencies that just maybe aren't serving everything that they need. And I think that that's in part because of how the agency model has been set up. I think that's also in part because there's so many ad agencies that it's become a race to the bottom. I also think it's almost like a mechanic where you don't know what you don't know. And so you ultimately end up at the agency that has sold you the best, whether or not they're doing the best work. And I think seeing that made me choose more of a coaching route versus a doing route. So anyway, the YouTube channel is something that I started this year, obviously. I started it again out of its need, but also, frankly, just being able to articulate what I am seeing, managing and working with clients has been really helpful for me. It's one of those things where if you give, you tend to get. And I am one of those people in Google Ads and in my life that always leads with giving, and then I end up reaping the benefits of that. Also, I'm much bigger on LinkedIn. I think I've always felt comfortable on LinkedIn because LinkedIn is very, like, I'm going to call it mid-tier. It's not quite a blog. It's not a short. Being an expert, I think a lot of experts resonate with this. It's really, really hard to be short and choppy, but that middle ground where you're not getting super in-depth with a long blog post, but you're getting in-depth enough with something mid-form has helped me succeed on LinkedIn. So it's been nice. YouTube has been a different environment to take everything that I built on LinkedIn and then move it over into this platform on YouTube and kind of see what I get. I also find on LinkedIn, just being totally honest, I end up in an echo chamber of other Google Ads specialists, which is wonderful. It's built my community. It's built my friendships in the industry. It's built my industry clout. But at the end of the day, I feel like the business owners that need my services, they're not like sitting on LinkedIn and talking among Google Ads experts. So I think it's been great to get to see my content go wider with YouTube. Although, obviously it's new to me here. So this week, if you kind of go through my channel, a lot of what I've been talking about is AI. I've been talking so much about AI overviews, how to get in there. That was my most popular video. I was really, really shocked about that, if you want to know the truth. And then I would say my other popular video was AI ethics. And I think it's interesting because AI ethics in particular is really, really important. I think it's something that doesn't get talked about because it's a softer. It's not that, oh my gosh, this is what I can do on my account today. But I do feel like it's something that businesses have to be thinking about. You always hear news stories and you always hear it when it gets bad. But ultimately, if we're going with these automated algorithms, what people like, we can end up creating biases in our ads. And we want to be careful about that, not to alienate people or go after demographics that we don't want to go after. So I think it's something that's worth talking about, worth acknowledging, and worth, frankly, telling small businesses that they're exposed to. I think that's really, really important. And then also, I think another topic that you've seen on my channel too is talking about, and I think it's because it's coming up in my coaching calls, it's talking about essentially AI Max versus Performance Max versus DSA. And I know this because in my coaching calls, people are asking about it and they don't necessarily understand the differences between those campaigns. And it feels like Google is stacking AI on top of AI on top of AI, and it can get really confusing, especially with the naming conventions. So I've done a lot of that in my videos. I think it's really, really important to not say universally AI is bad, but to choose the right AI for your campaign, what works for you, what works for your business and your goals. I think that is really, really important as you're navigating this platform. I don't want to say that you should go all in, but I also don't want to say that you should be one of those people that is rejecting AI, because it does serve a lot of benefits. I think one other thing is, like, as Google ad practitioners, and it could be anecdotal, it could be rumor, but a lot of times we do feel like the platform prioritizes using those new features. And if you do any type of content creation, right? If you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, if you're making YouTube videos like myself, if you're in Google Ads, if you're LinkedIn or building other, you'll notice that the platforms themselves, because they need to collect that data, they need people using their services, they do tend to prioritize. And again, it's anecdotal. I tend to be a first mover when my clients are receptive to that. But if my clients are not, obviously I respect that type of thing. And so what else do I see? I'm going to talk about, like, live from my coaching calls, like where other businesses are frustrated, so you don't feel like you're more alone. I think obviously the calls from the rep, I think I still to this day, I get clients that they don't know what to do when their Google reps call, because those initial emails and those calls make it sound like there's either opportunity or something they're doing wrong. And so I do feel like a lot of businesses still struggle with that. It's what to do when the Google rep calls. And I always say, like, don't answer the phone, don't answer the phone. But I don't actually universally mean that, because there are good reps out there, even at the lower levels. But that being said, you just want to be careful and understand that the rep, their motivations are not going to be the same as yours. I think that's really, really important for you as the business owner to always consider, is that those reps, they sound enticing. They sound like they know, but they're really, a lot of the reps that are reaching out to my clients, they don't work for Google. They're subcontractors, and they're just sort of making those phone calls and sending those templates. So yeah, I think that's a constant. And then I would also feel like I get a lot of business owners, and it could be the reality of my business model that I do deal in the coaching framework. They feel like they're doing everything right. So they have the keywords, the budget, the tracking, but somehow they're not getting those results. And a lot of that has to do with data. And I think it's really, really important to know that when you start out on Google Ads, as much as you're buying conversions, you're also buying business data. And I feel like this is where, obviously, the bigger clients know this, right? The bigger clients, but they've bought the data, 15 years ago. I feel like smaller businesses, especially when they're starting out today, they don't understand. It's like climbing Mount Everest. You're at the bottom and you're getting to each base camp minute by minute. And at the end of the day, I think it's very, very painful, hard when you're just trying to get that data to make the decisions. And then you get that first piece of data and you're like, yeah, I got data, but now I don't really know where to go to there because it's not enough data. And that's always, always going to be tough. And really your options when you don't have the data are, I would say, wait, right? Which is really hard to do when you're spending money. That's an option. I would say put more money into it. That would be another option. And then I would also say, and this is more of like an advanced thing, but I recommend this to my clients, sometimes just getting on the phone with someone like me who I'll make a decision based on gut and years of experience, even if I don't have the full data set. And again, I don't recommend a lot of small businesses doing that. The other thing that I see, and I will see a lot of clients that are doing everything right and they're still struggling. And a lot of times what it is, and this is kind of a thing as a small business owner, is the business owner, they have their emotions in it. And I feel like sometimes when you're a business owner and your emotions are in it, you're not able to see clearly through the woods like someone like me can, because I have, I'm not looking at your business with that that love and care in that way. And right, I'm not emotionally attached to your business in the way that you are. And a lot of times that's what happens is that emotional attachment clouds that clarity. And I know this because I myself am a marketer. That is my trade. Yet marketing my own business for me can sometimes even be hard. So I don't want my clients to feel badly for that when a decision for me or a something I see, it's like, oh, I see it clear as day. And then the business owner is like, oh yeah, they have that aha moment. And then they feel badly like they didn't see it. And I'm like, nah, you wouldn't have, because you have those emotions that I don't have. And so sometimes that's a benefit of having the coach or the Google Ads specialist come in, really look at your account and see it, because I don't see, again, that emotional side. I feel like I beat that dead horse, but since I'm not talking to anyone at this point, it is what it is. You get what you get. You don't throw a fit. So yeah, I mean, what else am I kind of thinking? I mean, I've talked about business owners doing everything right and not having the data and the frustration with that. I talked about ethics and AI and the confusion. I think that's, again, coming up constantly on my coaching calls. I would say, the data not matching up. That's another thing that happens. A lot of clients deal with performance max quality. I think unpacking that can get complex. Sometimes it's because maybe performance max isn't right for them. Sometimes it's because they have a form that's really easy. Some of the worst cases I've seen advertisers set up performance max leading to a phone call and it's gone completely off the rails. And so a lot of that is taking that step back and realizing, okay, maybe that campaign tape isn't for you. What can you do a little bit differently? And then I would also say, people are afraid because of CRO to add those extra qualifying questions. And sometimes, again, it's about taking a step back and saying, maybe my form needs to be harder. Maybe I don't want the algorithm to have to go after that easy conversion so much. So yeah, also, all right. So if you're new here, let's talk about the channel in general and who I particularly work with. So I work with small businesses a lot. I do really, really well in B2B, especially B2B lead gen. I actually come from an e-commerce background, which is funny because it seems like when I'm a freelancer on my own, I tend to get a lot of B2B. But typically small to mid. I also do a ton of consulting to agencies and ambitious freelancers, which is interesting. And I think a lot of that really has to do with the fact that my network is so big on the agency and freelancer side of things. And I think because my network is so big on that agency and freelancer side, I tend to get those agency clients. And so it's interesting. I think sometimes it looks like, oh, I work with such high volume of accounts. And it's because I supplement my direct business work, again, with those ad agencies. I also see ad agencies will hire me a lot for audits. I love that. I love auditing other agencies' accounts because I see how they do things differently. And then I'm able to bring in that outside perspective. I also am able to mentor those junior strategists on the agency side. It also sort of is heartwarming, when you're working as, an agency, a lot of times those paid search specialists that can get lonely or they need somebody a little bit more senior to just validate what they're doing right. I think that that's been, like I said, really good for me and them, is to be able to say, yes, this is what you're doing right. This is how I'd improve it. And I'd also say with the agencies, you'll get bad habits that propagate down through the agency. And so sometimes, again, that helps. So yeah, that's a little behind the scenes. I'm excited because when I was looking, I saw that one person joined, but they really quickly hopped off. They're probably like, what the heck is this girl doing? But I wanted to try this. Again, whether you're watching live or in general, just to see sort of how it works, just like you're trying Google Ads to see, do I like it? Do I not? Is it uncomfortable? I'll say it is a little uncomfortable for me, a little uncomfy here, talking to no one, seeing zero, no likes, anything. But I did it as a test. I rambled for 14 minutes. And yeah, so anyway, a little bit about me. And if you have questions, I would like to go live in here more often and have an audience and just work through the chaos. what would be lovely is if I had an audience big enough to do this weekly. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of laughing a little. Like, just like my clients are chasing conversions, I'm chasing an audience to be able to give all my expertise too. Anyway, all right. Well, I did it. I have been live. Oh wow, that's hilarious. As I am going live, I saw a notification. Actually went to my audience. That's great. My first Google Ads live. Anyway, all right. Well, hopefully, like I said, anyone watching this on the replay can jump in with questions, comments, but I did it. I survived, just like you are surviving. Have a good one. Happy Sunday.